So have you ever asked yourself that question? Where do I belong? Or where do I fit in? And maybe you have asked those questions and not known the answers to them. Well, I've got some good news for you. The answer is, at least in part, right here. You belong right here. You fit in right here at this amazing spiritual community. This whole month, we are going to be talking about creating sacred community. And every time I say community, I want you in your mind's eye to change that U to a Y-O-U. Because you belong. You can belong if you want to. You fit in here if you want to. And you absolutely can feel the tangible love of God here in this community if you open yourselves up to that. We're going to focus on that the whole month. We're going to focus on creating sacred community. We're going to do that in lots of different ways. Today, and we'll have some experiences, and today we're going to have those experiences. So I just want to get us warmed up to the experiential part of today. Say after me, if you will, I am creating sacred community right now.
I am creating sacred community right now.
So whether this is your first time here or your 110th time here or more, 500th time here, I don't know how many services you actually have. Somebody do the math real quick. 21 years, 1,000? So 1,000, there we go. So if this is your thousandth time here, whatever it is, you're important because you are creating the energy of the sacred community. You're doing it in this room right now. So I want you to turn to somebody, whether you know them or not, and simply say to them, thank you for creating sacred community now.
Thank you.
Nice. So, yeah. So you may have known the person that you just spoke to. Yeah, I do. Yeah, or you may not have. And either one is perfectly fine. But I want to share with you a quote that is so powerful. I just happened to run across in a book that we used last month or month before, Arianna Huffington's book Thrive. This particular quote, I didn't share it on the Sunday that we talked about this book. It wasn't appropriate for that, but it's so powerful for today. And it's a quote from Chilean poet Pablo Neruda. And he wrote, "To feel the intimacy of brothers is a marvelous thing in life. To feel the love of people whom we love is a fire that feeds our life. But to feel the affection from those whom we do not know, from those unknown to us, that is something still greater and more beautiful because it widens out the boundaries of our being and unites all living things." Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful statement? So beautiful, I want to say it again because I know you want to hear it again, right? Am I correct about that? You just want, thank you. So here it is. To feel the intimacy of brothers is a marvelous thing in life. To feel the love of people whom we love is a fire that feeds our life. But to feel the affection that comes from those whom we do not know, from those unknown to us, that is something still greater and more beautiful because it widens out the boundaries of our being and unites all living things. That is what we do here in spiritual community, among people that we know and people that we don't know yet. So what does widen, I love it, widen the boundaries of our being? What does that mean? To me, that means to be able to come to know that we are more than this. Yes? That we are more actually than we could ever think. To realize that life can be greater than we've ever imagined. To recognize that there's a spark in us that just wants to shine. And to know that whatever condition or circumstance might be going on in our lives, that does not define who we are. And we are so much greater than whatever that might be. So say with me, or well, okay, not with me because you don't know what it's going to be, but maybe say after me. That would work better, I think. Say after me, I am more than this, and just like all this. So I am more than this, right? I am more than all that.
I am more than all that.
I am greater than I ever imagined.
I am greater than I ever imagined.
I can let my spark shine here.
I can let my spark shine here.
That's what I think widening the boundaries of being means. And there is great power when we stand in support of each other in that. So, turn to somebody right now and say, thank you for helping me know these things. So there is a second part to the ending of that quote that I just really love. So in addition to feeling the love of those we know and affection from those we don't, it helps us to widen the boundaries of our being, and it also unites all living things. I love that statement. It unites all living things. In other words, it helps us realize, I'm going to change that. It helps us experience our oneness. It helps us experience our oneness. And of course, our oneness is a fundamental, basic, bottom line, foundational principle in our beautiful Science of Mind teachings. We are one. I don't even like saying with. I don't like that because that suggests, if I say I'm one with, that suggests there's two. I am one of God or one as God. You are one of God, one as God. And because that's true, then we are one of and as each other. There really is only one of us here. That one of us shows up in lots of different ways, and as Ernest Holmes says, a multiplicity of expressions. But nonetheless, I love that, multiplicity of expressions. Nonetheless, there is only one of us here. I love this quote from The Science of Mind, 332, for those of you who like to keep track of the pages. The unity of good is a revelation of the greatest importance, for it teaches us that we are one with the whole and one with each other. The fatherhood of God and the actual brotherhood of man will be made apparent on earth to the degree that we realize true unity. And I believe there is no greater place where we can realize true unity than in spiritual community. And so what makes something spiritual community? Well, church, it's church. Yeah, okay. It's more than that. I love the ancient Sanskrit word of Sangha. Do you know that word? The word Sangha is a beautiful description of what spiritual community really is. And here it is. Sangha is a community of individuals dedicated to creating and sustaining an environment that nurtures and supports reverence, mindfulness, and spirituality as a way of life. In Sangha, each person is respected, accepted, and loved as they are. It's a safe place to be who you are. That's Sangha. Here's a quote from The Art of Being by Dennis Merritt Jones on the idea of Sangha. He says, Sangha is not a building. It is a consciousness held by a collective group that welcomes, celebrates, and honors you just the way you are. You'll know it because it's as if you have walked into a wall of love, immersing you in it in the most amazing ways. And Holmes tells us in his great book, Can You Talk to God? Can We Talk to God? There is something in us that longs for the sympathetic understanding, the kindly response, the sense of a presence which is warm, pulsating, and colorful. We must have it, and I sense that as we meet each other in love and friendship, in the warmth of a handshake and in good fellowship, it is God. What else could it be? The hand that gives is the hand of God. The eye that sees is the eye of God. In each other, through each other, we contact God. In each other, through each other, we contact God. That's what community is all about. In each other, with each other, through each other, we contact God. One of the greatest ways, well, one way, not the greatest, but one way, and a great way that we contact God here is through our featured ministry this month. Every month we feature a ministry, and I'm starting to talk about them more because I want you to know about how these ministries are calling forth and living the vision of CLF. It is our vision that we be a warm, welcoming place. One of the fundamental tenets of our founding mothers and fathers, the 17 who formed Creative Living Fellowship. It's funny, as a little interesting note, the history of CLF says that there were 17 people who founded this community. But nobody can come up with all 17 names, so we're not really sure how many there were. But approximately 17 people. But they did come up with something really important, however many of them there were. And I was not one of them. I came 2 years later as the minister. But one of the things that 17 came up with was every person who walked through these doors will be welcomed in love. That's a fundamental tenet, a fundamental way of being here. And one of the groups that does it so powerfully is our HOW ministry, Hearts of Welcome, the HOW team. I had them stand up earlier, but I want you to stand up again. If those who are on the HOW team, would you please stand up again so we can really love you and thank you and honor you for, we've got 3 of them this morning. So let's first of all give them a big hand. So we love you guys. This is the team that when you come in, they're there waiting to give you a handshake, hug, or namaste, whatever you're most comfortable with. Yeah, they're here to direct you to where the restrooms are if you're not sure, to connect you with the person who knows if you have a question and they don't know. They're here to tangibly be God's love. And I want to share with you an anonymous quote, but nonetheless, someone said this not too long ago about the Hearts of Welcome team. They said this, everyone who, that's something different. Here, I live alone and work in a pretty sterile environment. So I look forward to being greeted with love and enthusiasm when I walk through CLF's doors. They see who I am and they accept me fully. I personally love the hugs I get from the HOW members. They last me the entire week until I can come back the next week for more. So you guys are making a difference in this community. You are living this idea of creating sacred community. And I thank you for that. I honor you for that. If what I have just said sounds interesting to you, and you have been thinking about how can I plug in, the HOW ministry is such a perfect and easy way. If you like people, if you're a little gregarious, then come join the HOW team. We're always open for more people. I see a couple of you shaking your heads. You'd be perfect, by the way, Glenn. I'm just saying. No pressure, but you'd be perfect, right? That beautiful smile that you offer so freely would be beautiful. No pressure on you all. But the sign-up sheet is at the guest reception table. Woo! And sign up, and our HOW leader, Tia McCracken, will contact you and get you plugged in. And you too will be part of this amazing thing. And here's the cool thing, and those of you who are in this ministry will attest to this, that whatever you give out, you get back like about 100-fold, right? Is that not the case? You get it back 100-fold. So in the description of today's time together, if you read it when you got it online or if you saw it in the pew pocket in front of you, here's a line that is in the description of today's experience. It says, this Sunday, we will not only talk about the power of belonging, but we will experience it firsthand. This is an experience you will want to have. That was an affirmation, by the way. This is an experience you will want to have. I put that in there as an affirmation. What I could have said was this. This is an experience that will take you deeper into God's love if you're willing to go. So, are you willing to go? Yes. I have to tell you, after first service, I had one person come up to me and go, what in the world were you thinking? What were you thinking to have us do that? And I was like, because I did think, oh my gosh, I'm kind of going out on a limb here doing this in Sunday service. It's okay for a class, but in Sunday service? And then I realized, I love this saying, and it hit me that, sometimes you got to go out on a limb because that's where the fruit is, right? That's where the sweetness is. So anyway, the person said to me, what were you thinking? And I was like, oh my golly. And then she looked at me with tears in her eye and said, That was perfect. So I hope you say the same thing. So what we're going to do is have an opportunity to feel the presence of God through each other if you want to play. There's a key word in this that is where you're going to go if you choose to play. How many of you are familiar with Brené Brown and the work of Brené? Yeah, oh good. Okay, so this side for sure and a handful of people on this side. This is the Brené Brown fan club sits over here. Right. Brené Brown is actually a research professor at the University of Houston. She got famous by doing a TED Talk. And then another one, and then another one. She is amazing. She's written now, I don't know how many best-selling books, Daring Greatly. She's got a new one out. I've forgotten the name of it, but thank you, Rising Strong. I have to get it. I have to add that to my reading list. Don't have that book yet, but I want it. She's amazing. And she's done 10 years of research to answer this question. How do we cultivate the courage, compassion, and connection that we need to recognize that we are enough, that we are in fact worthy of love, of belonging, and of joy? And her research has answered that question. Who knows the word that would answer that question? This side of the room, I'm sure you know. Yeah. Vulnerability is the word. Being willing to be vulnerable. Take a breath. Being willing to be vulnerable. Who knows the work of Dr. Greg Bear? The real love work, the work of Dr. Greg Bear. He says, in order to receive the love, the unconditional, the real love that is being offered to us, we must be authentic and real and move the barrier of the facade that we keep in front of us away. You know that facade that everything is cool and I'm good? You know that barrier, that facade that we just put up there for the world to see? You know, we put our best foot forward for the world to see. In order to really receive love, we've got to put that barrier down. We do that by being real and authentic, which makes us
vulnerable.
Which makes us
Vulnerable.
One more time, which makes us
Vulnerable.
Thank you. I wanted to hear it even from the back of the room. Righto. When I think about this idea, I think about our little dog, Curly. Some of you have met Curly. He used to come to church with me when we first got him. He likes being home way better now than coming to church, so he stays home. Curly is a little 9-pound poodle mix. We're not exactly sure what he is. He came to us. He found us. He actually found a friend of ours. Remember last month we talked about a life that works, and one of the ways a life that works is that capital C coincidences happen all the time. Well, Curly is a gigantically capital C coincidence. We had been without a dog for about a year. Lonnie, whenever I would ask him, when do you think we're going to be ready for another dog? What is your sense of that? And his answer would be, when the time is right, the right dog will drop in our laps. That's what he said. This particular morning, some of you know this story already, but in case you don't, I just want to share it because then I want to tell something about him. Little Curly, we were having breakfast meeting friends for breakfast at the 5 and Diner at 16th Street and Missouri at 7 o'clock in the morning. 6:30, thank you. I knew 7 was too late. Yeah, it's 6:30. We're there at 6:30. That's insane. But anyway, we do that once a month. We love these friends, and we meet them once a month for breakfast. This particular morning, so by the way, 5 and Diner is like one of the very few restaurants in the valley that allows dogs on the patio. That morning, this little mangy, dirty, skinny, matted, curly mess of a dog shows up at our friend Janet's doorstep. He just was there. When she walked out to come to breakfast, he was there. And she's a dog lover, but she has 2 of her own, which are not that crazy about other dogs. And so she thought, I cannot leave him here. I'm getting ready to leave to go to breakfast. I can't leave him here. My dog's, I don't know what will happen. Maybe I'll take him. She opens her car door. He leapt into her car. This is a dog we later found out is very afraid of strangers. He's freaked out at people he doesn't know. He leaps in her car. She brings him to breakfast. She pretty much hands this filthy, he's been on the street for a long time, hands this filthy little mess to us and says, here, I think I found your new dog. And she was so very right. He's put on 2 pounds, yay, so he's 9 pounds now. He was 7 pounds when we got him. He's 9 pounds. He's not a curly mess anymore, but his name is Curly, which is why we named him that, in addition to being a nod to one of Lonnie's 3 favorite comedians, Larry, Moe, and Curly. That's why he's named that. Nonetheless, what does that have to do with this topic of vulnerability? When Curly wants to receive the best love there is in the life of a dog, what does he do? Those of you who are animal lovers, you know, flops himself on his back, splays his legs out, and says, "Give me a belly rub." Right? That is also the most vulnerable way an animal can be, because all of their organs are right there. If a predator were to come along, whoosh, one bite, they could die. But there is great reward in being willing to be vulnerable, because he gets lots and lots of love and is able to receive it. And the tail that spins, not just shakes, but spins, is certainly an indication that he is receiving the love. So being vulnerable is a powerful thing. This, if you want to play, is how we're going to do it. In a moment, I'm going to explain it, I'm going to show it, and then we're going to do it. And I'm going to show it for 2 reasons. 1, so you can see it demonstrated. And 2, so you know that I never, ever will ask you to do something that I myself am not willing to do. So what we're going to do is you're going to pick a person, maybe the person you've already shared with. If it's different, fine. If you don't know their name, ask. Even if you think you should. Oh, I've met this person before, but I can't remember. So here's a way we say sometimes, I just can't remember how to spell your name. How do you spell your name?
That's good.
And then they say, Sue, S-U-E. No. Just be honest and say, I probably should, but I don't remember your name. Tell me again, please. All right? It's okay. So you're going to ask the name, and then you're going to share one quality of God that you know is yours. You're going to do this in 3 sentences or fewer, all right? 3 sentences or fewer. It's going to be short. You're going to one quality of God that you know you have, and just one way that it shows up in your life. So let's say I'm with Renee. So let's say and I know her name. It's Renee. So I know her name. She knows mine is Michelle. We don't have to do that piece. But I would say, Renee, the quality of God that I really honor about myself is integrity. And integrity is so important to me in my personal life, in my professional life. It is so important to me that I walk the talk. I think that was 2 or 3 sentences. That's all it took. Was it 3? Thank you. 3. Renee is going to just say back to me, I see that in you. Okay, so say that with me. I see that in you. Easy. You're going to have a 1 minute for you both to share. And so when that minute is over, Dave is going to ding a little chime, and you'll be done. Okay? Any questions? No. 1 minute for the both of you. Thank you. So 30 seconds-ish apiece. So find someone, introduce yourself, and my quality of God is... All right, come back to me. Come back to me. Nice. Oh, yummy. It's feeling yummy in here. We're going to take it a step yummier. We're going to take it a step yummier. We're going to get... If you didn't hear that, Bill said we're going to get a belly rub. Yes, basically, yes. Pretty much. This is an emotion. This is going to be an emotional belly rub. Right. So one thing in Science of Mind in our New Thought teachings that I absolutely love, and it can have an underside to it, and that is that we absolutely believe in focusing what we want, in moving forward, knowing the power that when we set our intention, what goes on in our minds, through our thoughts, through our heart, that's how we create. And so we are always looking to what we want to create, not what we don't want to create, right? And yes, that's extremely powerful and very important. Sometimes, now and again, in that, we do not give proper, if you will, or enough attention to the places in ourselves that hurt. We just want to skim over it. We want to skim over it and not feel it. But you can't do that because we're full dimensional beings. We have emotions. We have fears. We have doubts. And so in a safe and sacred and holy place, to be able to speak it is highly, highly healing and powerful and creates at an even deeper level sacred community. I did this exercise just this week in a class. And it was amazing. And that's what inspired me to, you know what? If we did it in a class, we're going to bring it here to create sacred community. So, again, I'm never going to ask you to do something that I won't do. So I'm going to show you, we'll demonstrate it, and then you'll do it. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm with Renee. So I'm going to share with Renee something that I'm afraid of, something that scares me. Renee is going to sit here and have her hands out like this. So if you're the receiver of this, you're going to have your hands out, okay? Just like that. So I'm called to share the same thing I did in first service. Maybe I can do it without crying this time, but it's okay if I do. That's why we have tissue and that's why we have them. And it's okay. So, Renee, one of my fears is that my beloved Lonnie, who is so vibrant and healthy now, but has had some heart challenges, that his heart won't last as long as I want it to. Because we have a vision that we will go out holding hands at like 105 years old, sound asleep. And that's the vision I have, and that's the vision I want. And sometimes I get afraid that won't happen. So you take a breath, and the person who just received that is going to say, in the hands of God, your fear is dissolved.
In the hands of God, your fear is dissolved.
Thank you. Are we willing to go deep? This is deep, I know. Are you willing to go deep? To create that sacred community? I want you to share with the same person you shared with, because that person is now a soul sister or a soul brother, right? And now you're going to take that even deeper. 1 minute. Again, 1 minute. Begin.
It's not good enough.
So complete your time. Come back to me in the silence. And let us pray. In the loving hands of God. Well, there we go. Our fears are dissolved.
Our fears are dissolved.
Take a breath. And let us just know that source, infinite life, love, the divine, is here in this room, expressing itself as each of us, reflecting back to us through these beautiful souls in this room, right here, right now. Let us know that in this moment we have created sacred community. We have experienced Sangha. Let us know together that in these moments we have been released so that we might move forward in life in greater ways, so that the spark of the divine may shine more brightly through us and as us, so that the God of our being is more fully on display, so that our gifts and our hopes and our dreams and our aspirations are brought forth into the world to bless not only ourselves, but everyone else. I know in this time, this sacred time that we have had, these things have occurred. And so we celebrate that together. We rejoice in that together. We support each other in that together. Thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, Source. And as we each take a collective deep breath and we let it go, we release this prayer. Know that it's done. We call it good. And so it is. So the question is, where do you belong? Where do you fit in? Right here, in this sacred community. Because we are the ones we've been waiting for. That's the last line of a Hopi elder's prophecy that I want to share with you. To my fellow swimmers, life is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and so swift that there are those who will be afraid, who will try to hold on to the shore. They are being torn apart and will suffer greatly. Know that the river has its destination and all is well. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, swim and keep our heads above water. And I say, see who is there with you and celebrate. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. For we are the ones we've been waiting for.